Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We are underway now with Reason Gaming versus Copenhagen Wolves, two incredibly strong teams. Actually, potentially looking for some aggression here from Reason Gaming, but maybe not. Regardless, this is the Challenger Series number 10. This is Copenhagen Wolves versus Reason Gaming. He says for a second time, I am Spuddington, and I am joined by Pulse.
Hey, how's it going? And I'm just looking at Zinjal's starting items. He's currently taking Doran's Blade, and this is something we see typically sometimes from Lee Sin, who's going for a very aggressive start. And Zinjal, we're actually discussing in the break, he's seen more use recently, and we were, or at least I was saying that it's probably because people recognize early ganking junglers are so strong right now. Zinjal fits the bill. And also by giving him the Doran's Blade, again, increases the ganking potential, extra damage, increased trading potential as well. And because his team will be able to help him out with it, he won't be taking too much damage from the jungle, and he has pretty high damage with his 3 Talon strikes. So that should be enough with the Doran's Blade to keep himself sustained. I'm actually interested in seeing if he's running lifesteal, which he is not. So he is basically very stacked in the AD in the early game.
Yeah, Copenhagen Wolves are aware of that, and they are also aware that right now, top lane is going to be a very important lane. If Kha'Zix can get off the ground, that gives the Reason Gaming a lot more potential to assassinate Ashe late game, and they want that to happen. But it's a difficult lane against Renekton, and it actually looks as if Reason Gaming are sending Mozilla to that bottom lane, Varus heading to that top. Indeed, no one has passed by that ward, Copenhagen Wolves pinging that out, but what I can expect that you will see here is a lot of focus being put on that 1v1 between Renekton and Kha'Zix, because Kha'Zix is going to be key to the late game here. And it looks actually as well as if Ashe versus Varus... Actually, I'm curious, Pulse, what do you think is going to be the way that matchup's going to go?
Well, first off, I'm just going to mention the fact that Copenhagen Wolves are extremely clever in the fact that they predicted Mozilla would be going down bot lane and they swapped their top to the bot, which is incredibly clever because now it's a 1 versus 1 lane and Kha'Zix is still in that bad matchup. But in the top lane, we're going to have Reckless shaping up against Varus, and Ashe should do fairly decently in the early game. She's got 600 ranged compared to 575 from Varus, so in that sense, should slightly help in the poking stages, and Kazmich is also trying to just kind of shut them out. They have slightly more engaged, but unlimited engage is safer with Acro Prism. So it's very back and forth, and both teams both have engage, disengage, and the ability to poke. So it's really, I feel like it's more of like a skill matchup.
Yeah, it does seem that way a lot. Neither of them either have an escape. So I did mention the solo lane between Renekton, and actually there is aggression going on. Aqua Prison being thrown down, a little bit of a volley being thrown across as well. And there we go, ebb and flow. But I mentioned that you can expect to see a lot of focus in that bottom lane right now. But thinking about it, with neither AD carry nor any of the supports, for that matter, having any escapes, you could also make a very justified claim to just focusing down Reckless, because having that aggression on, because it's either you get Kha'Zix fed up so he can assassinate Reckless, or you try and dump on him early, because if you don't do one of those two things, you're going to have serious problems come late game.
Yeah, and so many times we've seen protect the carry compositions, and then you focus so much on that carry, or you focus so much on the person who's going to delete that carry, that you forget about everyone else on the board, and then you can see Lissandra doing really well. Meanwhile, bot lane, Mozilla jumping onto Youngbuck, but Zinjal way too far behind to connect the Audacious Charge, so that's not going to happen. But we'll give him some breathing room so he can carry on farming, and Q's going to be pushing up the lane, probably just to reset it and allow Kha'Zix to go back, because something he wouldn't usually be able to do against Renekton with his superior pushing power.
Yeah, and in the top lane, well, the duo lane, regardless, we also saw that aggression coming out, Nami blowing that ignite, Thresh still holding on to his, but it forced Varus out of lane. So he's going to come back with 2 Doran's Blades and 3 health potions. And Ashe being out of mana is probably going to want to push this out as fast as possible and then look to go back herself. So I actually think maybe Reason Gaming have come out a little bit ahead there. Ashe cannot afford to stay in the lane with no mana. And Varus isn't going to lose that much farm to the tower or to the other minions. It's going to be okay. But in the mid lane, we've got the claw coming down. Thimbleweight flashes out and we'll be okay.
Yeah, Flashdown though will allow another ganking opportunity to open itself up in a couple of minutes, but when he hits level 6, again he will have another escape or another free, no matter, well, depends on how you look at it. Meanwhile on the bot lane, I think we had 2 ganks coming out from Q, didn't work out, and it looks like he's moving around once again if he wants to try and get another gank off. But right now, Renekton's very difficult to gank with Slice and Dice, and once again, just stomping out the aggression onto Mozilla, and there's very little he can do in return. Just can't outtrade him at this stage in the game anyway. When he hits 6, again, Dominus will just allow him no chance to engage or trade with him at all, so it's just try to farm this lane out. So far, it looks like Q is trying his best to feed up Mozilla. He's not deciding to go into that top lane. You said it's one or the other. You either try and shut down the AD carry, or you try and get the person fed, the assassin fed. But that's not working against Renekton, who's so difficult to gank. So, what's Q's next move?
Well, he can actually continue to focus that bottom lane if Young Buck stays in. At the moment, he's only got that Doran's shield, and he may not feel the need to go back because he can probably still 1v1 Kha'Zix very effectively. But he is going to be comparatively quite squishy in a gank situation. However, once he's gone back, once he's picked up, say, a Chain Vest and maybe even a Giant's Belt for a Sunfire Cape, he's going to look to be way, way too difficult to gank. But in the mid lane, it actually looks like Ku's going. Exeter going to be getting charmed and will use the claw regardless of the charm.
Yeah, I think it ticked off just at the very end, and he was probably like mashing the button hoping that it would work, and that's what it looked like to me. And another gank goes in mid, again unsuccessful, and this is gonna hurt Ku. But again, Shook has not been able to get his own ganks off. So far it's just been the lanes duking it out in their own places. So once again, another hook comes up from Kazmich, but nothing really lands. And this is a kind of a fairly stale start to the game. And who do you think this favors more?
Well, both the mid games actually for both teams are very, very strong. It's going to favor in the very long run probably, well, a team which is running Reckless because he is an extremely good AD carry, and we've said it 1,000,001 times, but that doesn't stop it from being true. Worth noting though, Shook is in the enemy jungle, has been found by Ku, who is going to be throwing in the Audacious Charge. 3 Talon Strike, putting down the damage here, and it looks like Shook is just going to leg it. Meanwhile, the charm in mid lands on Exilert. Bimbo deciding not to go, does in fact go for it after all, but gets kind of rooted down and is now just going to be trying to finish off Shook, who takes an auto attack and lives. Cool flashes over the wall, but is not going to be able to pick that up after all.
Yeah, Audacious Charge was on maybe half a second cooldown, and after the flash went down, it was he was just too far away. Looking for the gank on mid lane. No, Audacious Charge is up. Moving in with the 3 Talon Strike as well. Frozen Tomb comes out. Good juke from the charm. And Glacial Path will keep him safe, but big cooldowns popped, and again, no kills. Bunnington.
I may have lagged out.
Or muted your
Can you
mic.
hear me?
Yes.
Right, okay, lovely. Because for me, it just kind of chugged for a second, and then everything went silent for a while. However, there was some aggression in that bot lane. I don't actually know who came out ahead, because again, I think I may have lagged out a bit. But worth noting, Mozilla has now popped that red elixir that he's been carrying around almost since the beginning of the game. And Shook actually looking potentially to get aggressive on this mid lane here, looking for the... Oh, no, he's not. He's finding Ku in the jungle, who is recalling. This is a dangerous situation. He does not want to be here. He's trying to bait out the flag and drag, I think, but he's kind of just getting killed. First blood goes down to Java.
That was probably the most lackluster way to see the first blood go down, and Bimbo once again finds himself Shook. Good juke out of the way of Charm, and he should be good to go. Flag and Drag comes up in a second, and Latantra's there as well to back him up before Bimbo 8 goes too deep. So first blood goes down, going on to Shook, and that's probably one of the best people to have it on this early on into the game. Will allow him greater abilities to gank those lanes, and he'll have more items, making him even more tanky. And I'm seeing a recurring theme coming out from Reason Gaming so far, which is Doran's Blade. Currently 6 on their lineup so far, booking out most of their pickups in terms of items. And that really just signals what game they're trying to play. They're just trying to win out the early game, but first blood going down to Shook, they need to step up their game.
Yeah, this is looking a little bit dangerous for them. However, they are kind of hitting a power spike right now. They have hit level 6 on almost everyone. However, Xin has not, and Shook has. But they have the potential to make stuff happen. Reckless is level 6, got that arrow, so getting aggressive might be difficult. However, they will look to steal away this blue buff now. Bimbo finds Shook, has got that ultimate, actually screws up the Orb of Deception there, so it may not be enough damage now. Is going to get Tomb down and will be getting taken out by Excellence autos. And that was actually a classic Ari error there. She used the ultimate and took herself to the other side of Lissandra, so the return swing of the ball didn't hit.
And once again, another kill going down, and Reason Gaming, you're looking a little bit sloppy so far, Limited just clearing out the blue buff, but going very all-in with triple Doran's Ring coming out from Ari as well. Doran's Blade all over the board. It really looks like they're trying to win out the early game. Currently 2 kills down. They are trying to make those plays happen, but it's just always backfiring. Copenhagen Wolves, even in this early game, doing very well, and their late game scaling is probably superior.
Yeah, and I slightly concerned about whether I'm lagging, but in the mid lane, Cool gets aggressive on Exeler, who just uses that claw to get himself out of there. Jarvan, in the meantime, coming in, and Kazmich nearly gets bubbled, but gets away. Nardius pops that flash, getting out of dodge, and now it's going to be the Lantern saving the day for Nardius. He's putting some distance between them, but it looks like Shook is looking aggressive.
Yeah, had action in the bot lane and the top lane, but it was just Youngbuck just popping his Dominus, and we'll go ahead and recall. So, BF Sword picked up by Varus, 92 farm to 93, so he is currently matching Ash blow for blow on CS, and seems to be fairly decent, but his scaling is slightly lower than Reckless's, and plus you have to count in the utility that Reckless brings to the table. And so far, 2 kills to 0, and again, three Doran's Rings coming in from Bimbo 8. Wouldn't be surprised if we see Reason Gaming try and force some team fights out, because they need these fights to happen. And because Doran's items are so gold efficient, then they would probably win in these early trades. So far though, just shaping up 1 versus 1 in these lanes, or 2 versus 2, they seem to be losing out. Mozilla popping down his ultimate though, Ignite comes out, popping another charge of his ultimate. Ignite also comes down onto Renekton. Doesn't look like Mozilla wants to follow this up. Completely out of mana. I'm surprised Youngbuck didn't go deeper.
Yeah, I think Youngbuck was still a little bit concerned because that empowered auto attack, and they were quite close to the brush, so there could have been unseen threat kills coming out. It was kind of just the thing where I think he was feeling a little bit alarmed because Kha'Zix was actually the one that initiated the aggression there. Kazmich in this top lane is probably going to throw down the Lantern any second now. Ku is there, but Shook is also waiting in the wings, so this is likely to blow up at any second. Kazmich will be just healing back in base, and I suspect maybe Copenhagen Wolves actually suspect what's coming. Ash Arrow comes down on Kazmich, as does the Aqua Prison, and a bunch of damage. He gets taken down, but now we have Cataclysm on 2 people, but the knockback from Xin, he really doesn't seem to care that he's going in 3v2 here, but seems like he's just going to do it anyway. Shook is going to take a lot of damage. Lissandra comes in from the backline, and Reckless is going to get assassinated off the side. Bimbo 8 putting down the auto attacks and the Q and the charm. It's not going to be enough. Well, takes out Excellent, but it's not going to be enough to pick up any more.
Yeah, 2 for 2 trade coming out, and both of the mid laners also coming in. Worked out really well for Reason Gaming, being 1 kill down and then bringing in Ari as well. That's why Ku was being so aggressive, and I guess they were thinking, well, we can allow you to be so aggressive since we have Exeler coming up, but with Ari actually just positioning really well in that team fight, actually turned it around. So 2 for 2 trade. Again, this is going even for Reason Gaming, not what they want to be doing. Mozilla trading off of Youngbuck, and he just does not have the trading potential. Voice Backs goes down, but 73 extra HP is not going to help you against Renekton, who's going to be using his full combo against you, plus the Dominus. Mozilla, again, is just not having a fun time. Currently in the farm, he's about 20 CS behind, and Ku has just not had the effect on that lane he's really wanted. In the long run, Copenhagen Wolves will win out, so it's really down to Reason Gaming to make something happen now.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that Mozilla also had that red elixir early on, and he's going to be jumping out and will survive. But he just has to be so careful around Youngbuck right now, who's kind of hitting peak Renekton, where he's just a beefy wall of damage, whose damage has not actually started to fall off at this point, which just makes things incredibly difficult. Plus, with a physical damage jungler, there's just no way you're ganking that Renekton with the Sunfire Cape. There's kind of that window of opportunity to gank that lane is long since gone. Mozilla is just going to have to play defensive until he either loses his tower or they can manage to get some kind of 3-man gank done.
Yeah, Q also picking up the boots of mobility as well, so he really is looking to roam as hard as possible, try and get these ganks in, and try and get some kills for his team. But it's just not working out. Meanwhile, the top lane, they are being pushed in, but slight CS advantage to Nardius, nothing really to write home about just yet. Youngbuck waiting in the bot lane, seeing if he can do some damage to Mozilla. Slice comes in, looking to follow up with the dice as well. Mozilla looks to escape, but again, there's no way he can shape up against him. And Ku as well, when he ganks, he just can't gank. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Glacial Path is there, so he can't really gank Exeler. Also has the chance of backfiring if Exeler chunks down Bimbo 8 a little bit too low, and then he can use his full combo. And in the top lane, more things can go wrong, and we saw the gank coming from both of those junglers, but both of the junglers aren't like reading from the same page. They know where they need to be, and that's kind of just counteracting each other. And this, again, still works out for Copenhagen Wolves. They just need to hang on until they hit that mid-late game.
Yeah, and you can see Ari is trying to make stuff happen, but she's been spotted out. However, Chain of Corruption, Reckless may have overcommitted. Death Sentence is still available, and it will land on Unlimited. Reckless going to be getting assassinated by Bimbo, and that's actually the perfect result there for Reason Gaming. You can see them now looking to get aggressive on this top tower. Zin is in the bottom and may look to get aggressive on Renekton, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to take that tower if Shook and Lysandra there. Exila will be there to stop them.
Yeah, that was perfect play coming from Reason Gaming, picking up 2 kills for nothing and now completely evening it up on the scoreboard, nothing in it at all. And this is kind of the beginning of what they want to carry on. This is the theme that they want to keep running. Nardius repulling in that brush, and looks like they are not looking for that gank to happen, but Mozilla ticks down with the ignite. Youngbuck trading up against Ku. Looked like the gank came in from Ku as well. 2 versus 1 scenario. Youngbuck still wins out.
And that's what I mean, that window is long since gone in the top lane though. Kazmich has been caught out, is going to be taken out by Exila, very summarily executed, but it will be a mid tower going down to Bimbo 8 here. He will pick that up. Triple Doran's rings and a needlessly large rod, so he's very strong right now, and also pretty good at taking out towers for a mid-mage type of character. But yeah, that window to gank bot is just long since gone, and Youngbuck is now so strong in that 2-on-1. If Ari ganks, it's a slightly different story because of her propensity towards magic damage, but yeah, Renekton.
Yeah, so we've had a kind of slow start, but now we've had a flurry of action coming into it, and right now that's left Varus on 3 1-on-1. So he has assisted all the kills so far, and also has 3 kills himself, putting him slightly above Ashe, but bot tower goes down 1 tower apiece. So when we hit the next team fight, Reason Gaming are probably in a much better position because, well, the AD carries will be doing slightly more damage on their team, and is really just down to Ari whether she can do the same sort of damage that Exila can bring to the table. And Reason Gaming are actually just sticking in their lanes. Bot tower's fallen, so that means Renekton will probably start roaming because the minion wave will be pushing further to Mozilla. So with that in mind, with Copenhagen Wolves starting off the trades, this will probably hurt Reason Gaming.
Yeah, it's not looking great for them. They're far from out of it yet. And there's a lot of places they can start to look to make plays. Like, you know, Mozilla is going to push out this bottom lane while Renekton will be heading towards that top. And it actually looks like the bottom lane from Copenhagen Wolves is rotating towards bottom, probably looking to get that dragon control. And Ku is hanging around the mid, looking to get around behind Exila. If that happens, I will pass over to you. But, in fact, it's looking very iffy. But regardless, Ashe and Nami have rotated to bot, even though there's no tower. They want that dragon control, and they know Reason Gaming's bottom lane, duo lane, is committed to that top. However, Youngbuck could be in danger here.
Yeah, Q looks for this gank. He's just popped his head out of the brush and Youngbuck just realizes he's there. Box comes down as well. All the CC comes out, but Youngbuck is so tanky. Dominus comes out, Shook now comes in, flash into the Flagger Drug and the Cataclysm. Youngbuck still backing off. It's being tailed by Nardius. Another flash comes down by Q. One ultra attack comes out, but over the wall comes in from Exila. Glacial Path comes down, and the Frozen Tomb picking up the double kill, and that just horribly backfired. Bimbo 8 also turns himself into the action, but doesn't decide to commit, not knowing where anyone else does not have that vision around the area.
And that was just straight up how strong Renekton is right now, because again, it was all physical damage they were throwing at him, and they just couldn't take him out fast enough. Shook was very nice about timing his play there, arriving a little bit late to the scene, and actually you saw Zin kind of waiting it out because he thought Shook might come, but then kind of said, well, screw it, we'll go for it. If he'd actually gone in earlier, they might have been okay, but Shook putting down some damage on that top tower and then jumping out. I'm actually a little bit surprised that Copenhagen Wolf didn't go for that dragon. They wouldn't have had Smite available, but that bot lane could probably have secured it. Kha'Zix should not be able to dare go aggressive against an Ashe Arrow. But as it happens, now it looks like both teams are potentially looking to form up for it. Thresh is committed at top, but Jarvan is committed for Copenhagen Wolves, and that is going to open up an opportunity for Reason Gaming.
Yeah, Reason Gaming looking to force this. Pinkwood is there, so they might have the steal opportunity. Jarvan is approaching very quickly with the Home Guard boots as well, so this is a ticking time bomb for them. Limited pops down the tidal wave. Mozilla from the side gets completely decimated from that lineup from Copenhagen Wolves, who are also dropping quite low, and Youngblock is just so tanky. Again, they focus him out in this fight, and they just focus so much on him, he just tanks it all to the face, and now his team are here to back him up. Shook following up, the flag drag comes down, the hook lands as well, dragging him into the turret, but their front line is so tanky. Not just throws out the piercing arrow, doesn't pick anyone up, Reckless dropping low, but again, Reason Gaming not able to get the valuable targets.
Yeah, and it's because Renekton is so strong right now. He's just, I mean, he is just such a huge threat that they can't deal with him. They can't ignore him. He's doing too much damage, so he's a big threat. And he's so tanky that they can't really focus him down either. They can't even really like try and pick him off. I mean, you saw what happened at top when they tried to 3v1 dive and it just didn't work out for them. So Renekton is a huge problem for them right now. He will gradually decrease in terms of threat. He's building pure tank. Sunfire Cape damage will become less relevant as time moves on. But Copenhagen Wolves is using that to secure a lot of advantages right now. And Reason Gaming, they don't have as good of a late game as we've mentioned before. So this is looking difficult for them. Interesting choice though. Mozilla has a Tiamat.
Yeah, I was just looking at that myself, and I think what Reason Gaming have realized is, look guys, yes, we went all in with the Durant items, but we can't trade off with the team of Copenhagen Wolves. So what we're going to do is put a Tiamat on Kha'Zix, have him split push, and then what Tiamat allows Kha'Zix to do is split push, because he doesn't have any AoE damage apart from his Void Spikes. Generally won't be putting the evolution point into that, at least until the third one, or even not putting it into at all, just putting another point into his ultimate. Bimbo 8 getting a rest onto Reckless, Ku in the mid lane, also jumping in with the audacious charge, but 3 vs 2 scenario. Bimbo 8, huge damage comes out, delete unlimited. Ash Arrow comes down, completely whiffs out the way of Ku. Flash comes down into another audacious charge. 2-for-1 trade so far. And Shook still following up onto Bimbo 8, but like horribly backfired, and the Ash Arrow missed point blank range.
Nearly point blank range.
Well,
in
close
fairness,
enough.
Lissandra coming in from the side. The hook has come down. Can she use the lantern? No, she cannot. But Varus is here. Chain of Corruption is down. Exeter getting dragged in and taking a lot of damage, popping that Zhonya's, but good luck. And the 500 gold there going to Nadius. So that was overall, what, a 4-for-2 in the favor of Reason Gaming. Huge advantage there taken, and this mid tower may be pressured.
Yeah, they outplayed them really well in that mid fight, and with all more people trickling in as well, both of the teams guessed they thought they could fight, and it just worked out in Reason Gaming's favor. They are moving towards that Baron area. I'd be surprised if they started it, but Youngbook around the corner along with Unlimited with that Oracle, so we'll be bodyguarding for her just for the meanwhile, and they will be moving up to the top lane. Interesting that they're moving both their Assassin and their AD carry into the top lane to push it down, but I guess there's no one really to stop them from doing so. Ash is coming up along with Nami, and Nardis is not sticking around either, so this could get dicey for Mozilla very quickly.
Yeah, but what they're doing here, and there is an Ash Arrow available, so Mozilla's going to have to be very careful. He is actually going aggressive here, though, putting down the Q. Will be looking to try and get out, maybe, but pops that ultimate. He's not going to be doing that. However, tower taken down, completely worth it from his perspective. Maybe if Varus had stayed, though, he could have taken it out without him dying. Regardless, what I want to touch on here is the purpose behind the Tiamat on Kha'Zix. This is not a particularly conventional item, but what it is giving him right now is much superior wave clear. And one of the things, if you fall behind in top lane, and this is a lesson that's very applicable to solo queue, in fact it's more applicable to solo queue than anywhere else, could be a fight in the jungle here, but is that if you lose your lane, what you want to do is push really hard in top lane, because if you go there, you force them to send whoever it is that's beaten you in lane back, and that means they're not over around the map. Bimbo in a lot of trouble getting locked up and killed. But if they're forced to commit, Renekton back to stopping Kha'Zix, that means he's not in the team fight. That means he's not busy rocking the backline from Reason Game.
Yeah, and it's something that's definitely been applying very recently to the games we've played together, Spuddington. Mozilla, meanwhile, in that bot lane, again trading off against Youngbuck. And yet, as you said, there's no way he can trade off against him. But what he can do is just keep him there. And because he's way more valuable of a target than Kha'Zix, then, well, he's happy just to keep him locked up there. They are pushing him back, though, with Copenhagen Wolves around the corner and also picking up both of the blue buffs. They are looking to shut down Mozilla. Kazmich around the corner as well. The Dark Passage comes out, but they are just aggressing once again onto this bot turret. The Death Sentence doesn't quite land, but Ku is looking for a fight. Blast into the ultimate, the Crescent Sweep. Youngbuck still on that front line, tanking all that turret aggro, but he's just not caring at all. Cataclysm comes in as well, plus the AoE damage, dropping so low. Flash comes out, will be dropped in a heartbeat regardless. Nardia still on that back line with Bimbo 8. Popping down the Foxfires and the Piercing Arrow. Got to be very careful though, with Exeler coming in with the Glacial Path. Will be dropped if the team doesn't back him up, and the great Piercing Arrow picks that one up at the very tip.
Yeah, Exeler there making the play based on the fact he's had the Frozen Tomb up, but was not actually able to get that ability off. So a little bit unfortunate there for the sub from Copenhagen Wolves, but he's going to be, he's still not going to be too upset with their situation. However, Reason Gaming seem to have been getting a bit of momentum in these fights, and that little initiate there by Ku was really, really nice mechanically. I do have to maybe query the necessity of focusing down Renekton, but as it happened, they did kind of focus him down with the tower's help, so they kind of forced him away, and he did eventually, and he wasn't able to just dive the backline like he normally wants to.
Yeah, I guess they saw him underneath the turret and they thought, well, with the help of the turret, we can probably take him out with the damage ramp from the tower. So it worked out, and as you said, momentum has been built up by Reason Gaming. Still 4k behind, so they have a long way to go, but they are able to win out in these fights if they set up the fights correctly. And so far, Ku's doing a really good job of doing that. So it's really just looking towards Reason Gaming to see if they can keep up the momentum. However, from Copenhagen Wolves, they're going to recognize this. Harass coming over the wall from Bimbo 8, and they're going to start thinking, well, we need to start changing these fights. We don't need to be so aggressive, and we start fighting on our own terms, we'll be in better shape. Because every time they've won the fights, obviously they've been massively overextended. Reason Gaming looking for another fight though. This is even ground. Ku comes in once again. Crescent Sweep splits up the team. This team are way too far back. The tidal wave splitting them up. 4 versus 5. Youngbuck drops low, but he's just still too tanky. Mozilla backing up. Auto attack comes down, finishing off from Reckless. And Reckless just at the back lines, and now his damage has ramped up so hard. 4 for 0 trade. Flash over the ball by Unlimited. Activism comes out. Another flash from Bimbo 8. Orb Deception doesn't finish him off, but still dropping very low.
And that was just honestly not a very good initiation by Ku there. I mean, he knocked Renekton back into his team, and this is one of the things about playing Xin Zhao. You have to be incredibly skilled mechanically to make that kind of initiate work, because if it goes wrong, if you knock their front line further into your front line, into your back line, and then you knock their back line a little bit further back, that's just a disastrous initiation. You need to kind of force them out of their normal positions and mess them around, but in that case, he just basically put them more into where they wanted to be. As it happens, though, that hasn't put Reason Gaming completely out of it. No Baron call from Copenhagen Wolves. They may have just felt a little bit iffy because Bimbo 8 was still up. May have just not thought they could take it out fast enough. Regardless, though, Renekton's going to push this top lane, and well, Mozilla level 14 is going to try and counter push.
Yeah, bot tower is very low though, so Copenhagen Wolves want to group up again and look for another fight. After that last fight going so well, they could definitely do it. Youngbuck is still very, very tanky. Kazmich finds himself unlimited in the jungle as well, and they are moving around the Baron area. Two pings go down and Varus is bot, so they might well go onto this Baron. They are shaping up for it. The wards come down and the counter warding as well. Varus realizes his mistake, comes up into the mid lane, and looks like we might have another fight opening up.
Yeah, maybe, but at the moment it's looking like we may just see kind of a protracted Baron Dance vision control fight. Kazmich is going to be the one in the firing line. He is looking to clear out some wards here because remember, they have got Ashe on this team. Copenhagen Wolves have so much potential for anyone who walks into the enemy jungle to just suddenly end up very, very dead with a ton of CC and follow-up. And in fact, Kazmich, the whole of Reason Gaming here could be in a dangerous spot. Youngbuck is going to take a bit of poke. He's going to get knocked back, get death-fied there by Bimbo. But regardless, Ashe Arrow comes in. Kazmich gets destroyed. We've got Exeler in the middle of everyone. Uses the Frozen Tomb on himself. Bimbo 8 keeping himself alive on the backline. But he is in a lot of trouble now. Zonny is popped by Exeler, and Exeler will be surviving. Will actually not be surviving because I said he would survive. But he gets a triple kill. And Copenhagen Wolves take another fight convincingly.
Yeah, and again, they just focused on Youngbuck. I guess they thought maybe Youngbuck's a little too far in front of his team, but they were only maybe 1 to 2 seconds behind him. And by the time they committed so many big cooldowns to him, the rest of the team of Copenhagen Wolves just collapsed on top of Reason. Again, a very questionable move, but I guess they thought, well, we delete Renekton, and that's something we really don't have to deal with. But he's not the biggest threat right now, with Reckless starting to scale up, along with Exeler picking up that triple kill. I guess the prioritization was just not quite there from Reason.
Yeah, I'm just still a little bit hung up on why they went for so much damage on Renekton. I mean, yes, he is a huge threat, but surely they would be much better served by trying to kite him backwards than by, you know, throwing out all their cooldowns on him. As it happens, though, well, Renekton was able to make that fight happen, and that has meant another victory for Copenhagen Wolves. Kazmich is in a lot of trouble here, but is going to throw a death sentence sort of at right angles to where the enemies actually are. Regardless, however, they will be looking to get some vision control because they need to make sure no one on Copenhagen Wolves can sneak a bear in this game. Cool, Flash is actually possibly going for Reckless here, but I'm not sure he's going to catch it. Nope, catches a bubble instead.
Yeah, it doesn't quite pick up that kill, but at this stage, they aren't really looking for those desperate maneuvers, trying to get one of those picks and transforming that into a kill, into another tower. But right now, they are currently splitting up. Ku is completely separated from his team. He's, of course, looking for this blue pickup. Starts laughing in the faces of Shook, and there comes the Ash Arrow and the ultimate. Ku is surely dead. Nadia's gets caught as well. Frozen Tomb comes out, and the perils of laughing in your opponent's faces. Youngbuck now jumping onto Mozilla. Bimbo 8 also looking to back off. Dark Passage comes down. Flash over the wall into the flag and drag from Shook, and Exeter follows up with the Glacial Path. Kazmich does not have the flash from that earlier battle, and Kazmich will be locked up and just deleted. 3 for 0 trade, and looks like either the Baron or a strong push from Copenhagen Wolves, but looks like it's going to be the Baron.
And now it's looking really, really bad from the perspective of Reason Gaming. They've kind of missed their window in which Copenhagen Wolves' composition was a little bit weak. Reckless is starting to hit that, 3 or maybe even, 4. Oh, actually, they're just going to surrender it straight up. Yeah, I was saying surprising. It was looking bad. They really didn't have a lot of odds exposed in here. Baron buff down, 10k gold down. Yeah, not surprised they surrendered that, but they did put up a good fight, and I think maybe if Ku had made, that a slightly different initiation in that Dragon Pit, they may have been able to reclaim the momentum in that game. Regardless, well, unless you have any final thoughts, Pulse.
Nope, that's it from us until we go for a quick break, and we will be back for the second game of this best of 3. So see you soon. Stay tuned.